that these funds are going to lead to higher costs, and they don't actually prioritize what they say they prioritize.
Thank you. Next question, starting with Albert. What do you know about the possible uranium plant that is being looked at for Camp Williams, and what is your opinion of it? How can Bluffdale citizens get involved and learn more?
I appreciate that. So when I was trying to make the decision, can you hear me okay? When I was trying to make the decision to run, this is one of the reasons that kicked me into full gear. When I discovered the uranium enrichment plant, I started sending out information and not getting any information back. So I decided to run, and as soon as I started to run, I started doing my research. My background is military intelligence. So the big thing is identifying where the threats and risks are and learning how to go in and data mine that information and pulling up resources and proofs to back up what I find. So what I found was that this was under consideration, and what I found now is actually that it is going to be taking place. Right now there's going to be up to probably, it was at 400 acres, now they're talking about, Mike is talking about up to 750 acres that have been identified for future development. An RFP with a deadline of 1 October has been sent to excavation companies in Utah to make the first 50 acres flat and buildable. Over $1 billion is planned to be invested in the project. MIDA is finalizing a sublease with Utah Energy. And because of all of this, and there's a lot more, and because of all of this that I have been able to uncover with official government documents, by the way, and you can go to my website, you can find all this information. But the one thing that what kicked me into gear now is I reached out to Drew DeWalt. And Drew DeWalt is with General Matter. I have a meeting with General Matter tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I'm the only city council member up here that's been focused on this as a top priority because I'm concerned about the risks and health of our city and all of our residents. I have seen nuclear. Sorry.
Thank you. Matt?
Well, first off, just to validate people's concerns, I mean, when you hear about the potential of uranium enrichment, and then you go, well, what does that mean? And trying to find all the facts. I think it's because in recent years, so much influence or so many things that are impacting our community are happening outside of our borders. Whether that's the train station, whether that's the point of the mountain project, or it's just a state road like Redwood and Puerto Rockwell and how hard it is to turn left there. The Uranium Enrichment Project is equal on that in terms of something that we really need to be able to fact find more. That's why I don't want to just post about that project on social media. I want to be proactive and leverage relationships I've had working with the Utah Republican Party, volunteering on races. And so a few weeks ago, 2 days before my wedding, I set up a meeting with the representatives of General Matter, and we sat down at Congressman Burgess Owen's office. They decided who from the city should be there. By the way, I haven't commented as much publicly on the specifics of the project because I'm not yet an elected representative, and the last thing I want to do is undermine our city representatives. They speak for the city. I have not been elected. And so we set up that meeting, and Congressman Owen's office went, we're really glad that we did this because now we understand a lot more of what their long-term plans are for that project. It has not been finalized. There's still discussion between Utah and another state on where it could end up. And so there's a process there. I think to follow up on that, this is something I've really cared about. The last thing I want to do is cause concern when we don't know all the facts. That's why I've also made a phone call to a contact of mine at Senator John Curtis's office. He sits over the Committee for the Senate on Public Works and Environment, which oversees a project like this. I've spoken to their public policy expert, and that's something I'm going to continue to do to make sure Bluffdale has a seat at the table and our worries is heard.
Thank you. Jeffrey?
Thank you. You know, obviously I'm not an expert in this field, but I've definitely been learning a lot, and I do want to give Albert Allen Larson some credit. He was the first person that notified me about it before anybody else, any official sources, so good job on that. But I also really want to make sure you guys know where I stand before I get elected, right? Not afterwards. I would hate for you to get, for me to get up here on city council and then find out all these things that, wow, I wish I would have known that before I voted, right? So my whole goal with the Uranium Enrichment Plant has really just to be talking to everybody out there. And I basically feel like there's two camps that come to this. There's probably about 70% of you or the residents that are like, no way, never, over my dead body. There's probably about 20% that say, well, I'm still kind of learning, but I really haven't found anybody that says, yes, please put this at Camp Williams. So that's kind of what's shaping my opinion, right? Like, I think that's the most important thing is what you all want and what you think will be best for our community. So that's where I've come out clearly and said, I don't want this here, right? Then the logical side of me also takes, into account, well, what are the pros and cons, right? I don't really think there's a ton of pros for us as a city to have it. Yes, there'll be some economic benefit for our state and probably some power and energy benefits for our state, but there's no guarantee that that's actually going to help us as Bluffdale residents. So with all of the complaints and the concerns that the residents have, plus the downsides of potential like traffic, construction, maybe some safety issues, right? For me, it's just like, no, we have to be standing up as a city and speaking for our residents and saying, no, clearly our city believes this and wants this, so please listen to us. Don't listen to whatever special interests are out there. Don't listen to what the money is trying to influence, but have real clear leadership and direction.
Thank you. Wendy?
Yeah, so I have met with General Matter, and the meeting was too short to answer all my questions, to be quite honest. But let me tell you what we did know. The uranium they want to process, is what discussed before, is uranium hexafluoride gas, and this is how they process it. And I'm telling you this because this is what engineers do, chemical engineers. They excite the isotopes with a laser, and they are able to knock out the more common U-25, which is uranium-225. So they isolate the higher quality uranium-220 for the energy. Now, why is that important? it's because it's what they're gonna do there. It brings in a whole new set of possible concerns and issues. But what else we found out was they're still deciding between Utah and Ohio. They were unclear when I asked them very specific questions about the processing, about how much they're gonna process. And I think that's important to know because just like anything in city council, if I don't have all my questions answered, if I don't have everything answered to my satisfaction, it's a no. I vote no. And so I don't have all my questions answered. So that's where I stand on it so far.
Okay, thank you. Next question, starting with Mackie. What budget modifications